Members, it's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting of the subcommittee. Let's go into the first agenda item, election of deputy chairman. The Secretariat has issued a notice before the meeting to inform members that at the end of the nomination period for the office of the Deputy Chairman, only one valid nomination has been received. The nominee is Mr. Chao Siu-chung. The nomination was made by Mr. Lam Chen-sing and seconded by Mr. Lam Wai-kong. In accordance with paragraph 8D of Appendix 4 of the House Rules, if we have received any valid nomination for the office of the Deputy Chairman of the Subcommittee, members may decide whether there is a need to elect a Deputy Chairman. Since members agree, I duly declare that Mr. Chao Siu-chung has been elected as Deputy Chairman of the Subcommittee. Let's move on to the second agenda item. I now invite members to propose items for discussion for the subcommittee. Please refer to the terms of reference and work plan before you. Please press the request to speak button. I will assign a 2-minute time limit for members who have requested to speak. Let me read out the order in which members are going to speak. Mr. Chao Siu-chung, Mr. Lam Chen-sing, Mr. Lam Wai-kong, Mr. Xiu Ka-fei, and Mr. Lee Kuang-yu, 5 members. Mr. Chao Siu-chung. Thank you, Chair. I note in the work plan we have some items that we're going to follow up on or discuss. I do agree with them, but I have 2 points to make in particular. I want to talk about, first, marine safety. We have raised concerns on this before, and we have seen in recent years there are quite a number of industrial accidents at sea, especially in the past few months. According to some data, in less than 6 months before, we have already 3 industrial accidents that have resulted in deaths. There are 3 of them. We have in December last year, a worker fell into the sea and died, and on 2nd of March this year, in one day we have 2 industrial accidents. We have one who was working on the floating platform and fell into the sea, and then they were hospitalized and died in the hospital. And there was another worker who had an electric shock while working on a vessel and then died the day after. So we need to pay closer attention to issues relating to marine safety. We need to review the penalties to ensure compliance with occupational safety and health measures. We also need to look into enforcement and inspections of safety at sea. We need to see whether there are many inspections being done. We have been able to monitor the Labor Department's enforcement at different council meetings, but for operations at sea, we need to see how we can more closely monitor the situation, and we can perhaps also review the strategy for enforcement and inspections in future meetings. Thank you. Mr. Lam Chen-sing. Thank you, Chair. Every year at the panel on manpower, we will have 1 or 2 items on occupational safety and health. It would be great if we can have further discussions at this subcommittee. We did talk about how we have to review legislation in the terms of reference, but I think we should not only look at the legislation but also the guidelines. We have some practical guides that have not been reviewed for 10 or to even 20 years. Perhaps we need to review these as well. I also want to talk about for employees' compensation ordinance. In the annex, we have some list of occupational diseases. It has since been 20 years when we last added a disease to the list. So in the 20 years, we probably have some new diseases that we should consider adding to the list. I hope we can discuss this topic. Thank you. Mr. Lam Wai Kong. Thank you, Chair. I agree with the agenda proposed in the work plan. I just want to add something about looking into death from overwork and sudden deaths. We have many government department data talking about how security guards and taxi drivers had instances of sudden deaths. We can perhaps look more closely at the cases. We have a chronic disease co-care program, so perhaps for some occupations, we can take a more preventive approach to have these workers do checks to reduce occupational safety and health accidents and enhance their health. I also note earlier there is a pilot scheme from the Labor Department to have for construction industry and F&B and transportational industry workers when they are seeking private medical treatment. If they have suffered work injuries, they do not need to wait for public health care. They can seek care in the private sector. And this pilot scheme for rehabilitation has ended in May of 2024. I really like the idea of this scheme. So we want those who have employees injured and work to get rehabilitation as soon as possible. How can we provide care to them as early as possible? Thank you. Mr. Xiu Ka-fai. Thank you. And note in the work plan, we have quite a number of items. They are quite comprehensive. They cover a lot of the topics we have already raised concerns over, including enhancing public works tendering, promulgating building design management laws, as well as enhancing the weighting of site safety. I'm not sure if it should be covered here or the Public Works Subcommittee, but anyway, I digress. I think we are very concerned, even for the business sector, they are very concerned about employees dying or being injured from accidents or different instances. But we want to say that why accidents happen is not just about having the laws in place. How we can actually prevent accidents from happening is not just about increasing penalties. It is about having those conduct inspections, or just general labor department officers. They can tell workers what they have to pay attention to. At previous meetings of the LegCo, we only briefly touch on these. Perhaps we can have more specific discussions on how inspections are done at different types of premises, such as offices, factories, and construction sites, and then we can then identify the different problems for improvement. Thank you. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. Thank you, Chair. I very much agree with all the suggestions. I just want to add something about items F and G. We want to have some minimum technical standards for 4S, a smart site safety system, as well as some responsibility framework. I think we can explore also for some large works projects how 4S is actually being used. For example, when alerts are triggered, what personnel are needed for follow-up? Do we have sufficient manpower? And even if there is insufficient manpower, there should be some follow-up action taken by the contractors. Thank you. Ms. Grace Chan. Thank you. I agree with the work plan. I just want to say we should also talk about publicity and education on occupational safety and health. We have quite a number of organizations that think we should enhance awareness about occupational safety and health on a primary or secondary school level. Thank you. Any other members who would like to propose items for discussion? If not, I would just want to say that we have quite a number of members who have made very valid comments and suggestions. With reference to these, the Deputy Chairman and I will discuss with the administration future meeting arrangements and when we are to discuss different topics. When we have confirmation, the Secretary will tell members when we're going to have the next meeting. Is there any other business? If not, meeting adjourned. Thank you.